So upon coming out, I was shocked. And I all of a sudden this feeling of like, oh my God, did I get on the wrong plane? This place does not look familiar. The airport was so small, and me being from the city, I came around to the arrivals. I did not see the conveyor belts with the luggage. So I went in to the main airport area and I asked the lady, said, where is that thing that brings the suitcases? And their initial reaction was, you Pasin Diwai. And I was offended. I said, yeah. When you said thing, they said, oh, you're gonna wait for your bags at that table, which is still the same now, after almost 10 or 11 years now, it's still the same, hasn't changed. So I walked back out and I stood there, still, like, oh, that's so rude. That was my reaction. But it stuck with me. Pasin Diwai. Must be a thing here. So anyway, we were greeted by our then bus driver, Brother Hugo, the loveliest man you would ever meet. He's from Switzerland? Yeah. And he knows the history of Madang like the back of his palm. He starts you off from the airport. Divine, first years. So that was, I'm getting on that bus. So as soon as I got my bags, I got on the bus. And then he started, I sat right in front, next to him. And then he started talking about the environment, and he was telling us the history of the place, from the airport, how it, started, who built it, and we came in past places like Globe, and he was telling us the history, DCA, we came past, all the way into town. And as soon as we, looking at the town, part of me was still feeling a bit, I didn't want to cry. This place, it looks small. I can't see any big buildings, That was my reaction as a first year. But I was keeping it together. So as we came, he told us, okay, this is Nabasa, we're going down now. From the green fence, that's where DW begins. So we were all excited. Wow. So once upon a time, I walked into the gates of DWU, and my reaction was like, this is so different from outside. It had beautiful buildings, being greeted with the library, looking at a nice administration building, footpaths, not the road that we have now. So it was a totally different change, okay, this is nice, it's got to be nice. So we got off, and because it was the afternoon, registration was closed, it would be the next day. So as we got off, student services helped us. The then dean, Sister Giono, the Indonesian one, Geno, Sister Geno. So short Indonesian, she greeted us and she just gave us keys. Go to Edith, go to Claire, we had no idea. So we just stood there where's the girl's door? And then I stood there for 10 minutes. And all I could think of was, don't cry, you'll be fine. Because I didn't know anyone. And I was thinking okay, how do I go get my food? She didn't give us any of those mail slips. She just gave us keys. Go to this room and tomorrow you can go registration. So I was just standing there and I was looking around. And then out of nowhere I hear some singing. I saw a familiar face, and then another one, and then another one. My seniors from my previous high school. And they were all waving, hello, welcome to DWU. Finally, someone I know. Let's go. So they came because they saw me, and then with me, behind me with other female students. So they took all of us. They introduced themselves, I'm so-and-so. I'm taking this course. And they were from different courses. They took us to the dormitory. So along the way, they started telling us, this is the library, this is the PGRC, this is staff housing. We went past the chapel, the introductions began. And then they started telling us, welcome, this is gonna be a home for the next 4 years. Please don't remind me, I'm trying to get over my shock. We go to the dorms, we leave our bags, and they show us which dorms we're supposed to go to. And immediate reaction, leave your bags, and let's go for dinner. It's time for dinner. Did you bring any cups, any plates, No, we didn't bring anything. They go to their rooms, they get their plates and their cups, give us, let's go. So we follow them, we just follow them blindly. We all go into the mess and we all sit on one table. And that for me was the beginning of my life here at DWU. My friends at DWU, people I didn't expect to meet, and the conversations started. So ladies and gentlemen, Pasin Diwai, what is it? For you, it begins from the time you receive your letter that you are going to be part of this community. The excitement you feel, and when you land here. How many of you, when you got here, saw someone you knew from a previous high school? Hands up, don't be shy. I hope it made you feel at home and that you were not alone. In DWU, we have this thing called Pasin Diwai. You would wonder, what is it? Basically, it's the relationships that you create when you get here, as from the very beginning, when you walk through the gates. The way that you're greeted, the way that you're brought in to settle in. You don't need a manual to tell you, this is where you go, this is what you do. That comes later. So Pasin Diwai in my time, it was not something that they presented to us like what I'm doing to you. It was just so natural that the second years, the third years, and the fourth years just knew that the first years are coming. So just go, let's go and wait and see if anyone we know is coming and just help them settle in. That was what it was to us when I was here. So from that day on, every other thing that followed, every other event, every other, back then, smartphones was not a thing. TikTok, whatever, Facebook was not a thing. The auditorium was the place to be. Watching the boys dance brought back memories of, like you, I sat here for the first session for orientation and an icebreaker with boys doing break dance. These boys are big boys now. Some of them are married. They're still in Madang and coming back here as a staff. Hey, you come back, huh? That's the kind of greeting that you get. So Pasin Diwai is a unique relations and culture that you get to build as a student here when you start. It's the relationship that you have now with the community and the kind of activities that will come out during the year. And when you participate, it's that that togetherness that you feel. It's unique because you don't find this in other universities. I might be wrong, but from my own personal experience, after first year going to UPNG, I was surprised that when I met my friends from my previous school, they did not know who this person was, whether he was a first year, second year, or third year, or fourth year. But in DWU, it's probably because of our small community, you get to know who is who here. This person's in first year, second year, like the people at the airport, you first year, the divine. It's the kind of attitudes that, when you come first, you're like this, but after 2, 3, 4 years, they start seeing that that's a person from DWU. So it's our way of doing things, our way of relating to each other. It's about getting to know each other as friends and the good fellow passing that you show to each other. For example, we did not have any cups and plates, we did not need to ask. But those who were here before us already knew. So they showed us, you need this. So after we settled in, we knew we had to go buy lunch boxes. We knew what amount of food they will give us. So we had to get either big lunch boxes or little lunch boxes. Me, I wanted to be on diet back then, so I bought a small lunch box. So in a nutshell, passing that we show, the good God passing we show to each other, how we mix around, not just because you're from one X school, but because not because you're in first year SRS or first year tourism or first year rural health, but because you're from Divine and you get to mix with each other. And back then they used to mix us up in the dormitories. So if we were from Edith Dome, we just knew everybody from Edith Dome upstairs or downstairs, and it was not like in first year or second year, we knew each other by name. So that's my definition of Pasin Diwai. I hope you get to meet other alumni so they can tell you their own experiences. But yeah, so how do we recognize this Pasin Diwai? I just put up a few pictures from before when I was here. So as I explained earlier, it begins with the friendships that you create. So the first picture is of me and my friends there. We're all from different courses. But because we met each other on that first day, because we were scared together, we didn't know where to go, and we were confused and this, and that first initial, getting together, it created a bond that we still have today. And I can just call them up anytime. Doesn't matter if they're busy, they still have time for me. They won't say like, wait, call me, wait, after this meeting or what. We still have that unique relationship that we share here in university. You find Pasin Diwai in community service. Whenever you ask, oh, we go clean up Madang town. I don't know, we all just want to go together. Because let's wear the same shirt and we'll go and pick up, let's pick up rubbish on this side. You just want to participate, that's the point. Departmental activities. Back then we used to have fun nights. Every department annually had one night that they had to prepare for. And this one night involved first years to fourth years. It wasn't like, oh, okay, the first years are gonna perform this. No, it was just environmental health fun night. So we were excited to see what they had to display for us that night. And back then we used to pay what? 1 kina, 8 fee. It was part of their fundraising. So every Saturdays of the year, the SRC would put, one department pay Saturday, and we look forward to it. So it would be the departmental gatherings that you would have. How you participate in that. Supporting your SRC. It's so different from other universities. Our SRC here is more there for you. And a lot of times, at times are changing. During my time, it was difficult because we had a lot of rowdy students, so we had to tread carefully how we spoke to them. But one of the beautiful things about that is, like during my time, I was privileged to have been a SRC president, female president. It was not easy. And for my male counterparts, it wasn't a simple idea for them to have a president as a female back then. So every activity that we proposed, every budget that we put forward, they would, disagree. But I learned a lot through that experience about cultural barriers and how to get through to them so they see your point, that this is good for you. And back then we used to have, every SRC must have a project that they have to do. So the footpaths that you're walking on, the human place that you have, the solar lights, they're no longer here, but they used to be here before. Solar light projects. We used to have, back then the fence was a bit like chicken wire. And then we used to have the one at Pyramid, the house swing. Those were SRC projects for the students. So the idea was that you learn through that experience how to, talk to your students, get them on board and there for you. So supporting your SRC is important in this process of learning the Pasin Diwai. Attending official university events, this is something that in my time was a big way of learning the culture of DWU. Different events that we have, for example, launching of academic year that you all attended. We have graduation coming up. But we have other SRC-sponsored events like Independence Day. And back then, in our time, we had Cultural Day that we used to look forward to. I think due to COVID and other things, we've not had Cultural Day in a while. But I hope that you can get to experience that, because that's a big event that really draws all students to really, even the shy ones. They can dance, they can do the Wi-Fi, they can participate in. I think it's good because you get to learn about who you are as a Papua New Guinean. You get to learn about your own provinces, and as a university student, it challenges you to see how you can improve where you come from and how you can do things better. Yeah. So supporting university events and attending them is a good way of learning about this Pasin Diwai. It's how we do things. One of the other things that I wanted to draw your attention to was when we say departmental liturgy, Sunday, provincial, or ex-high school liturgies. So as a student first year when I came, Mass was a big part of the Divine Word culture. And a lot of my housemates were not Catholics back then. And I remember in my class, it was myself and another male colleague. And to teach the others how to sing hymns, and this was very difficult. But that was the task given to us. Every Wednesday, every year level, from every different departments that mix us around, would lead Wednesday liturgy. But one thing the seniors told us was, it's one God that we worship. And it can be in different ways. And you being a part of DW community, it's learn how they do things here and how they worship. So the fun bit in the Mass used to be the offertory. Father used to allow us to sing one song from a different place. And everyone was always excited about that. What song are they going to sing? Whether it's in Highlands, whether it's in, different top place. And we really sing our hearts off because of that one song. People would attend. Mass. And we learn about each other. And back then it was Father Mario who used to lead the liturgy. So he'd always come in for the practice on Monday and he'd tell us that this part is the Mass part. So you sing these songs. But all these other songs, you can put your own, like the entrance and the recessional. So that was a way of other faiths participating in the Mass. So we used to always look forward to them. When you say Mass, and then you had to prepare. If you were in first year, you prepare. Everyone else will come later. On Wednesday, they will turn up. SRS1 is leading the Lord to soul. They will not come for you practice, but on the night they will come. And they will sing. Even that song they didn't practice, they will sing. But that was the beauty of participating in an event that you are not familiar with, but it's a DWP. Yeah. We also have retreats that we do. I hope, I heard Father, you took that excuse to Rampi. During my time, we go to Media, the pastoral center, and it had a lovely beach that we only went so that after the retreat we go swim in the sea and walk along the beach. But the retreats are great. It's a great way for you to also learn about yourself in a tertiary institution and how you change and what you intend to do when you leave this place. In conclusion, the Pasin Diwai is more or less from what our DW motto is. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. But the English version, run to win. And during the course of the beginning of the year, you've heard a lot about that. But drawing your attention back to what Pasin Diwai is, it's from this motto that DW has. Run to win, but not in a ruthless way. So when I came to uni, I was so ambitious and I was so determined. I'm here to, get a good grade, pass my courses, and graduate. But I got a lot more than that coming to a place like DWU. I learned lifelong skills that still are so beneficial to me. And I made a network that anytime if I left this place, I know one of my alumni is there. And this is what you just got yourself into. You're part of a great big family. And it's taken from this. Run to win, but not in a ruthless way. It's a privilege to be in this time and era, to be reminded again of this motto with our theme for this year, running together to win. That's the whole idea of Pasin Diwai. You don't leave anyone behind. If someone's struggling, you turn around and ask, are you okay? Do you need help? And if I can help you, I'll help you. This is guided by what you will come to learn. Our DW core values. So there's a very important, you heard a lot about them in the beginning of the year. But as you leave your 4 years in DWU, and I'm encouraging you to participate in activities, you will come to truly understand what they really mean. What does it mean for integrity, academic excellence, community engagement with service, respect, diversity, hospitality, learning for life, social responsibility. Some of them I've mentioned that I got to experience. Community service, friendships, being welcomed here on my first day away from home. And when you, after 4 years, this is what you're expected to have achieved. So when you look at your degree paper, you don't just look at your transcript and what you got out of your courses, but it means much more. That paper, when you look at it, it means much more. It's the network that you have built, the friendships you've created. When I left home, coming to uni, I could only remember one thing that my dad said. He said a lot of things, but one thing that I could always remember when I came here was he told me, be careful how you choose your friends in uni. They become your lifelong friends. So I was very aware of that coming here. But I don't regret the friends that I've made. They're now my network of professional friends, as well as personal. So I've got only one take-home message for you. You are now a member of the DW community from the moment you were selected to the moment you're sitting here in this auditorium. This is your community. And I'm encouraging you to be an active participant in our community, DW. Only through participation in every activity possible will you truly experience the true Pasin Diwai. Thank you.